You know what's funny? The older you get, the more invisible you become even to the people who once couldn't go a day without needing something from you. I learned that the hard way. And if you're expecting some kind of sweet, sentimental story about family ties, well, buckle up because this is the real version raw, a little ugly, but finally honest. I was 78 when it all clicked into place. Picture this. Me, Linda Harmon, in my sunrise yellow apartment, still in my robe, a mug of chamomile tea in hand, watching lights stretch across my living room. That phone rang always right on cue. Sunday afternoon, the ritual I clung to even when it started to feel a little bit like performance art. "Hey, Mom." Ethan's voice, already bored, multitasking, tapping away at something more important than this conversation. He asked about my health, my garden, the grandkids like a checklist, you know? I gave him the updates, told him about the new roses and how Mrs. Edison said they'd never seen such a front yard. He grunted, said, "That's great, Mom." And I could practically hear him calculating when he could hang up without sounding like a complete jerk. But let me back up a sec. My world shrank after Andy passed away. The noise and laughter, Sunday dinner's gone in a blink. The house got too big, too quiet, the clock ticking just to fill up the silence. My grandkids used to chase each other through the hall. My son would come over to fix the gutters. Clara would talk a mile a minute about PDA meetings. Now, if they showed up at all, it was with a reason usually financial, never sentimental. Andy's death, it gutted me. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. 6 months, maybe a year, the doctor said, but he left before we could take that cruise we dreamed about. In those last weeks, I sat by his bed, told him stories, pretended I believed the nurse when she said he passed peacefully. At his funeral, the whole town turned out was the guy everyone trusted, the coach, the deacon, the one who knew how to fix anything. I got the "we'll check in, Mom" everyday promise, but you know how that goes. The calls became less frequent, the visits dried up, and suddenly I was rattling around a house built for a family that had moved on. So yeah, I downsized, moved into this little place, started fresh, or tried to. Ethan handled most of it, figuring out what to sell, what to keep. And sure, he asked about the proceeds, what I'd do with all that equity. "Interest rates are terrible, Mom. You should consider investing, maybe a reverse mortgage," all good advice, but the subtext was clear. I was a resource now. Then came the parade of needs. First, Daniela, my granddaughter, dropped out of college, finding herself, needed $5,000 to get back on her feet. I wrote the check, of course I did. Then Ruben, with a can't-miss tech startup, wanted $10,000 as an investment, which, surprise, was a lemon, but he showed up 6 months later in a new sports car. Every time they visited, it was compliments up front, a big ask in the middle, a kiss on the cheek out the door. You think that's bad? It gets better. I met Jude at a senior's dance, a Serbian widower with the thickest accent you ever heard, all bushy eyebrows and gentle hands, made me feel alive again. For the first time since Andy, I was seen, you know? Not just Mom or Grandma, but Linda, a woman with stories and dreams. When I told Ethan, he freaked out. "Mom, you barely know him. Is he after your money?" He started treating me like a child, like I didn't have the sense God gave a goose. Clara, too, suddenly all up in my business, checking in, but mostly checking my accounts, my pillbox, my sanity. My sister Nellie Sharp, as ever at 83, saw it before I did. "Linda, they're circling," she said over coffee. "You're the last golden goose." I brushed it off. They're family. They care. But it started to add up. Every visit ending with an ask, every family gathering somehow, coming back to my assets, my house, my will. Even Andy's Keepsakeshi's old tools, my mother's silver bit by bit gone. "We'll take care of these for you, Mom," Clara would say. But they never came back. Here's where it snapped. Ethan called about Ruben's birthday, dinner, wanted me there. Said they'd cover everything. But oh, could I send a few hundred for the caterer's deposit? I said yes, of course. But then he didn't hang up. I heard them, Ethan, Daniela, Clara, even Ruben laughing, planning, calling me a fool. "Hook, line, and sinker," Daniela giggled. "Once we get her to sign over the house, we can move her into assisted living. Dad says with the right pressure, she'll cave. Mom's too stupid to see what's really going on. You ever have your heart break twice in one lifetime?" That's how it felt like losing Andy all over again. Only this time it was the people I'd built my world around who did the breaking. I sat there for hours, not even moving, just letting the truth wash over me, colder and sharper than any winter wind. Nellie came over, no questions, no judgment, just coffee and action. First, you're locking down your money. Change accounts, new passwords, cut them off. I did every single thing. Called the bank, the credit cards, found a lawyer who wasn't Ethan's friend, and wrote a new will. Set up a trust with Nellie as executor. Changed my phone, my email, everything. I skipped Ruben's party. They freaked calls, texts, even showed up at my house banging on the door. I stayed with Nellie until the moving van came. Found a retirement community where nobody knew my story, where I could be just Linda again. I put my art studio by an east-facing window, planted new roses, started painting again this time for myself. 6 months passed. I learned to sleep without waiting for the phone to ring. Found new friends Thelma from book club, Damien with his tomatoes, Sophia, the yoga teacher. Even Jude came back into my life, slower this time, gentler, and we danced again, laughed again. The pain faded. Not gone, but smaller, easier to carry. Ethan found me, of course. Showed up with flowers and a face full of concern. "Mom, why did you disappear? Why won't you talk to us?" I met him in the community center, no invitation to my apartment. "You forgot to hang up, Ethan." I heard everything. He tried to spin it, to blame misunderstanding, but I didn't let him. If you want a relationship, it's on new terms. No more asks. No more treating me like a fool. You want love, give respect. He left angry, with the lilies on the table. I haven't heard from him since, but you know what? I'm okay. Maybe one day they'll understand what family really means. Maybe not. But I know now family is built on love, not on how much you can take. My days are my own. My art is for me. And the light through those windows every morning reminds me that it's never too late to start over. Soya, that happened. And if you're still listening, ask yourself, what would you do? When is enough enough? What's family worth, if not respect and kindness? Let's talk about it. Share your story, your take on where the line should be drawn. Because I'm done being the background to someone else's life. I am painting my own canvas, and it's brighter than ever.